Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this Friday night edition of Deep Woo. This is the simulated reality with the one and only SOLRETA. You can find her work at solreta.com and also here on YouTube at SOLRETA Ontario. SOLRETA, welcome back to the show. Happy New Year, and how are
Yeah,
you?
happy New Year. And it's so lovely to be back and to see so much of our soul family here. I can see a lot of familiar faces, Livy, Josh, Ocean. There's so many here. Oh, and I saw Carla on here before. Yeah, it's just so lovely to be here with you all.
I'm happy to have you back. We haven't spoken in a while. Life gets in the way, travel, families, all the stuff, business, and man, I'm really excited to have you back on. We haven't had a chance to talk for a while. How's it been going with you? How was your New Year's, and how's the family going? Share with the audience a little bit here. What's
Yeah.
new in your life, in your neck of the woods,
So
down under, of course.
Yeah, so I actually took some time off this year. So I don't think I really took time off last year. So it was nice to have Christmas off with the family, New Year's, and I've only just started back at work. I think it was last week, was first week back reading because I was doing 5 days a week for the whole entire year.
Right.
So yeah, just having like birthday off or, a day here or there. So it was really nice just to have that big gap in to get refreshed. Hey, Carla, I love her organizer, so beautiful. But yeah, I've been sort of split in different directions because I'm also doing some marketing and doing some work for my partner's business. So yeah, that's been busy and helping them out with different things. But yeah, just working in the background on courses and looking forward to getting products and things out, working on my soul alchemy potions, which is a range of 6 teas that are magical potions. So there's like abundance tea, heal a broken heart, there's a love potion, and all of them are made based on planetary medicine and alchemy. So
Mhm.
yeah, they're quite magical. So much happening.
When will I be able to help you promote those teas? How close are we
Oh,
to that?
I've got proprietary blends that I've had made. So they're all set. We've got 6 of them. One of them called Vision Quest. Actually, no, I think it's I Am That Witch is the one that changes color. I've got one that turns from like a purple color into like bright magenta. So
Oh,
you add
wow.
like another little potion to it. So yeah, on my Instagram and Soul Alchemy Potions Instagram, I've posted the videos of each of those. So there was a reiteration with the potion one, so the color's even brighter now, but they're
Mm.
all natural. So yeah, just waiting on a website and a little bit of design of the packaging and things, but they will be available in the States and over in Canada as well. So really excited. Oh, and here in Australia, of course.
All right. Well, I look forward to that. When you're ready, whenever you're ready, Solrita, just let me know. Of course, we'll do everything we can to share all of your amazing products here with the audience
Thank you.
members. Okay, today is Friday the 13th. That in and of itself is weird for some people. On top of that, we're just at the tail end here of the Mars retrograde. Just went direct here a couple of days ago, but we're still in this Mercury retrograde energy. And for a lot of people, it's been a tough one. Do you want to pull some cards here to start and see what the energies are like here, what we can expect
Yeah.
negotiating these frequencies for the next week? And then we'll get into the topics of the show tonight, maybe the difference between the psychic and the mystics out there. I think it'll be a nice conversation to round things out here for the weekend.
Yeah, and I just want to say hi to, I just saw Laura and John in the chat as well. Lovely to see you all here. So I got guided to pick out from the Wild Wisdom Australia deck that I've got. And this is a really beautiful deck just with a lot of Australian animals in it. And Spirit told me 2 cards. So I was going to pick 1 card. And then they showed me there's a split in what a lot of different people are going through right now. Oh, and I just want to say, because I'm in the future and it's Saturday morning here, we made it through Friday the 13th. So the first card that I got was Blue Ringed Octopus. So this is all about boundaries. And as we know, hey Jenny, as we know with Blue Ringed Octopus over here in Australia, they're not going to attack unless they're kind of provoked or accidentally stepped on. So I will read a little bit about that, but we also have the butterfly, which is all about grace. And it also sometimes is symbolic of when someone's passed on. It's a little message to let someone know that a loved one is around. So there might be some people that are experiencing, loved ones pass at the moment. So butterfly is a really beautiful sign. The butterfly for me also represents the activation of psychic senses because it mirrors the anatomy of the sphenoid bone, which is the beautiful bone that we have in the sinuses, where there's a lot of acupuncture points that plug in and activate those senses. So yeah, with the blue ringed octopus, it's about camouflage, flexibility, magic, illusion, defense. And I'm only touching on them very quick because I'm going to get through as much as we can. And with the butterfly, it's about playfulness, personal transformation, cycles, and it's about connecting with your soul. So it's going from physical caterpillar world into the spiritual realms. But we can pick some. I've got some other cards as well where we can look kind of into the week ahead if you like as well.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. And of course, I'm happy you're in the future and you've survived for Friday the 13th. A lot of people were expecting some stuff, maybe from the Q boards here today. Also, that tweet about the storm is upon us. Everybody's still expecting that. Some people were forecasting that perhaps today we would see that. So far, it's 5 p.m. Eastern here. We haven't seen any news of that, but still there's some weird things happening around in our realm here, including a lot of FAA flights being grounded the last couple of days. People suggesting there's weird things happening with fighter jets in the air as at the same time as the commercial airlines were down. So we're not sure what's going on, but yeah, crazy time indeed. Let's pull a few cards here and see what the energy is like for the next week.
So I've got the Thoth deck here as well. And as you guys have seen me on BeyondMystic before, I read the cards through psychometry. So Spirit will tell me, when to flip them over. So we'll feel into them, get an energy for the week ahead. So what I'm actually seeing is a lot of yellow gold come in with blue underneath. So it's really interesting because yellow and gold for me symbolize, because I've seen auras since I was really young, when it's gold with a tone of yellow, like a lemony yellow mixed in with it, it's kind of connecting to higher consciousness. And a higher consciousness is wanting to teach us something or wanting us to open up to receive more information. So this is sort of coming more towards like the present now, or even a little bit like to do with the last couple of days. So you might be starting to feel like that need to meditate, to tune in, to receive guidance. With the blue underneath, this is more tapped into our healing abilities. Spirit keeps pointing and touching on the heart to do with this. So there's also Spirit is trying to give us guidance around healing, around kind of looking and reflecting on emotions in different ways. Now we are coming up to a new moon that's going to be on the 22nd in Aquarius as well. So this will all be like reevaluating, reflection. There'll be insight, inquiry. With Aquarius as well, for me, the best card that represents Aquarius is the Star card. So she channels the information from the divine and she is the conduit that brings it onto the earth. So she was never meant to fit within the program or meant to fit within simulated reality. She was always meant to bust it wide open. So it might be that you're feeling to bust open your character at the moment on a personal level is what Spirit's showing me right now. So yeah, I'll just fill into the next set of cards and we'll see. So yeah, I'm just feeling abilities and things getting stronger as we go midweek, kind of lining up to that Aquarian energy. And I'm just feeling into, okay, what I'm also feeling and seeing, I keep getting like this watery feeling and I keep feeling this energy of floating and almost being absorbed into another reality. So you might also be getting some psychic links into multidimensional versions of self and different concepts and ideas of who you are on a higher level or on more of like a spiritual multidimensional level starting to step in. So they're showing me like a veil and a doorway open really thin with that at the moment. So we'll just flip these cards over. And the first card that we have is my shaman card, which represents kind of like a foot in each world. This is Prince of Cups. And the way that this message comes through to me is we can see here that he has this beautiful Kundalini energy expanding over heart chakra. We also see the water that I was describing that feeling of below. So for me, the cards are really kind of secondary to what Spirit says. I used to always just read without cards. And then Spirit was teaching me that the cards are really for our human consciousness to get that verification or validation or confirmation. So yeah, we see this beautiful blue ET energy as well. And he also brings this beautiful lotus medicine, which is the activation of the DMT within the pineal gland. So the ancient Egyptians would have blue lotus. You can even make blue lotus tea if you want to facilitate a little bit of that psychic journey. But, through breath work, through meditation, through binaural beats, we can activate some of this DMT within ourselves naturally. What we see with him as well is that he kind of has a foot in both worlds. Now, this is really important at the moment because we are transitioning, going from that third dimension into fourth and fifth. And it was only just the other day that I got validation from spirit that we've kind of made that jump. There is a few that are still kind of in more of like the lower frequency of things that are going on, more kind of getting absorbed into like the fear and the stories that are being told. But now it's time to become kind of like the creator of your own reality. So with this Five of Swords, we've got like a lot of mental conflict, a lot of defeat. It's interesting because we have Venus and Aquarius with this card as well. So it really is trying to tap into your own innate inner knowledge, tap into that love frequency of Venus and Aquarius rather than the program that's being dictated to us.
Right.
We also have the card of the Lovers going forth. And this is where I started to feel that beautiful flow kick in a lot more and kind of dance with spirit. And we see here how spirit's trying to download or trying to integrate or trying to hold a frequency together with us. So with this as well, it's kind of that that duality coming together. So we know that like as beings living here on earth realm, that we have that God consciousness, but we sort of separated to learn and to experience and to kind of see what all the different versions of reality. So this is a little bit of parts of us coming back together so that we can feel and learn more into the whole of who we are, not just on a soul level, but collective consciousness. I'm just hearing the words override the program coming down from spirit as well. So really look into what does this mean for you on a personal level going forth for this week, especially leading up to January 22nd with the Aquarian new moon, which feels like it will be very, very strong. It has a very soulful energy that's coming up with it. So I would just pick some clarification cards and go to just seeing where they want me to go. Okay.
And while you pick the cards there too, I love what you're saying about overriding the program. As all of the structures around us are falling from the age of Pisces, we're moving into Aquarius. We really do need to override the old programs and maybe delete those old programs that don't serve us and create the new programs of abundance within ourselves so that we can really focus on the earth we want to create here in this simulated reality of ours, of course, which is the title of our show. Well, while you're pulling the cards too, I wanted to say Melissa Long says, "Hey, it's my first time seeing Solreta, but wow, what a beautiful soul."
Aww,
guys, it's funny because Solreta was one of my very, very first guests. I've had her on since the inception of BeyondMystic, and so she's been around for a very long time. Yes, I know we haven't had conversations in the last couple of months, but yeah, Solreta, I wanted to thank you again here because you were instrumental in creating this community when I started, and you were always there to help me get back on the horse when I got deleted and started the channel over again. So a big thank you to you, Solreta, for being here.
It's been a ride through the different channels, but it's been a busy, fun, interesting, magical ride. And I'm just glad to see that you're still here, especially with Janine losing her channel and others that we love losing their channel. It's just like, right, let's just keep this horse going.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Solreta. All right, let's pull some clarification cards. And I have 3 supplemental questions after that based on what you said. Cool. You've opened up quite a few cans of worms there, and I wanted to redirect you. So let's do the additional cards now, and then I'll ask you additional questions. Okay?
The other message that I'm getting guided from spirit as well, and this has been coming up just through the week in walking meditation. So what spirit was showing me was how we can, look into one area of our life or look into like, one thing that we know that we do well or one thing that just, we attract naturally, and how we can take something that we're striving to do or to be or to have or something that we're looking to acquire. So what they were showing me is that you can kind of change or interchange those two energies and frequencies. So one example would be for me, going to different places, I tend to attract a lot of beautiful souls around me, beautiful people, and I kind of become a magnet for that sort of energy. So say, for example, if you're wanting to manifest say it's a new job, or money is probably like a better example, actually. So say if you're struggling with money, or you've got limitations or blockages on that, but you're really amazing at attracting, whether it's like male or female attention, and partners and things, and you have sort of that soul magnetic quality, you can kind of transplant the issue of money into that. And what you would say, or what you would kind of bring as that new version of self, you would kind of see money being attracted in the way that people are. So it would be like, money is so damn attracted to me, it can't keep its hands off me. And you can kind of transplant it in that way. So Spirit's been showing me things like that going forth, especially for this year. So the biggest one that's come to me from Spirit, I guess personally for me for this year, is that 2023 is going to be the most fun year ever. So it's just, repeating that as a mantra over and over, and already some of the most fun, amazing times are already coming up, and just like the connections. And I think if we have fun, it overrides a lot of the programming, because it takes us back to the imprint of being a child, being playful, and then we kind of play with our reality, and we be a bit more of the creator. So this also, I guess, is in alignment with the cards that are coming out. But I will flip these ones. These ones I don't feel into the same way. This is hilarious because I've just flipped it. It's Knight of Wands, which for me, the Knight of Wands is what Spirit calls my Tony Robbins card. So for me, Spirit really speaks to me about like the energy of different cards and how they relate to what we're talking about. So they're really just secondary. So this is for our human mind to have the confirmation. Now, why Spirit calls it the Tony Robbins card is traditionally this card's kind of read it like going flat chat, like running, going, yep, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to like run hard against the wall. For me, what the message that comes through with this is there's so many of us that will, set up resolutions and go, right, I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to do this for the new year. And it kind of falls apart because we run out of that steam. So when they call it the Tony Robbins card, it's to break down old subconscious belief systems, old subconscious patterns. So it really is to kind of like prime and set the subconscious up so that it won't fail, so that it can keep going. Like the horse that we were just talking about that BeyondMystic is, it just keeps going. So really look at your old subconscious thoughts, your old programs, because the energy that you're going to be stepping into, if you choose to do this and you choose to override or take on new versions or new ways of kind of adapting, or whether you're kind of photocopying like other areas of life into the same mindset or the same energy and frequency that you have come naturally, we have the High Priestess. So for me, the High Priestess is more of an energy. Instead of firing out all of these arrows everywhere, say like in Eight of Wands, I always see Eight of Wands as a quantum jump into an opportunity to become the High Priestess. So I see her as sort of like more this energy that puts the bow and arrow down. She's like, I'm done with playing. I'm done with like shooting out things into different directions and, sometimes things coming back. She holds her arms up to the heavens and she literally pulls that experience of who she is into her reality. So she shapes and forms everything around her. She doesn't fall to the left or the right or the dark or the light pillar. She's like, I am the way. I am plugged in and connected with source. But we have to say it. We actually have to speak this out loud. And this will be what shifts our reality. So for the last 3 years, the Justice card, and in my favorite deck, the Adjustment card, has been where we're shifting from third dimension into fourth, fifth, and higher. It's like holding the veil or the curtain open so that as we shift frequency and energy, we're actually forming this new reality. So yeah, that's what I've got like for the week ahead. Really, really exciting. But main feature would be to break down your old subconscious programs, your belief systems, start to bring in, actually look into Neville Goddard's work. Neville Goddard's work is from a long time ago. There's other people that have brought self-concept, law of assumption, more to kind of the modern day and age. But Google law of assumption, have a look at Kim Velez on YouTube, TikTok, have a look at Persis Manifest on both those channels as well. Really start to get and build this new version of who you are and start to actually speak it. So yeah, got a little bit excited there.
I love it. That's great advice for 2023. I really love it. One of the things, just going back here to the earlier days of the Beyond Mystic channel and our relationship together, going around the world, SOLRETA, to look at these specific portals and share our keys with these energetic portals on the planet. And you and I have been doing a lot of that work for a number of years. And I was wondering, in the last couple of months that you and I have spoken to each other, have you seen this idea of all of these animals going around in circles, suggesting that perhaps they are also opening up portals, or that the matrix of control is so thin and so weak right now that humans and perhaps animals who are more tuned to the planet right now have the accessibility to some of these portals that were before that maybe blocked off to humanity? What's your take on that right now? What's happening also in Uluru? What do you see in terms of the portal energy around the planet right now?
Yeah, it'd actually be good to pull cards on it because I haven't looked into it on that level, but I did see the turkeys walking around the tree, and I think it was sheep, and I'm not sure. I think I heard that it went on for days and days.
Yeah.
Now, over here, like with Aboriginal predictions, we have this beautiful elder called Auntie Minnie Mace, and she spoke about at the very start of, actually, it was 2 years before 2020 even happened. She said that the shift and the sign of the change will be a toilet paper shortage. And people were like, what? Because at that time, it seemed so far out, seemed so crazy. And then 2020 happened, and we had the great toilet paper shortage of the last couple of years. And so her next thing that she predicted was another toilet paper shortage, which happened again over here. But her third prediction was that the birds would start acting strange. So we've seen that in the island. There was this amazing photo captured by an Italian, I think it was an Irish photographer, and it was all of the, I guess, the collective consciousness of the birds moving together, all of their bodies as one giant bird. And over here, we've had birds that have either come up to us, cockatoos, kookaburras. Even my dad got a selfie with a kookaburra. Just in the background there are laughing birds. They're really beautiful Australian birds. We had a cockatoo that was just literally out the front of the shops, essentially being a person, because that's the shift that we've also seen with the birds over here, is that they no longer have what I would say is kind of like an animal personality. If you look at it on a psychic level and from, a clairvoyant level, I'm actually seeing like overshadow almost like human-like personalities and qualities. And yeah, so we're definitely seeing the shift. If you're walking in a park, just notice that the birds are no longer flying out the way if your frequency is of a certain level. So we're also seeing with the animals.
You can walk right up to pet birds in the park right now. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. Sarah's doing that all the time now. It's just like people are surprised, but it's really fascinating to see. Yeah.
So that's one of the signs that we've made that jump or that shift. And I think we're still in the process of it. But when ceremony happened at Uluru, which Stephen Evanstrong and I and many others were there, doing the rock circle and working with the energies of that. And I talked about on your show, I'm not sure if it was our first or second version of Beyond Mystic, I talked about blue flame energy and how I could see that around people that were falling into heart frequency and starting to actually become the shift that we needed to change everything. So when we did ceremony over Uluru, that same blue flame energy manifested in the sky. Now the sky was dark and looking like a storm was going to hit. We also had amongst that beautiful change in the sky, it was like a sunset with pinks and purples and things. We had that blue flame energy. It did anchor closer to Kata Judah, which I've always felt a stronger connection with because it is supposed to be feminine. So there's something very special with Kata Judah, which is also known as the Olgas, as well as Uluru. So it's sort of like a portal between the masculine and feminine that opened. We also, on the other side of the realm, in Atlanta, Georgia, had the same blue portal manifest at the same time. But with the animals that are happening now, some of them are being affected by 5G and by other things that are sending off their frequency signal. We see this because we have piezoelectric crystals that are within the pineal gland. And so some of the frequencies are affecting people in this way. We also know that voice of God technology has been used on humans for certain redirections that they might have not naturally gone for. So yeah, shall we pick some cards and have a look onto the animal side?
Well, hold on for a second, on that, because I wanted to ask you this question here. As you mentioned here, if people go check out those older videos, they'll see the blue flames that SOLRETA is talking about from some of our interviews. But one of the things that was interesting also was this, I'm going to choose my words carefully on YouTube here, but there was a deliberate attack on original peoples around the world. So too was the fact here in this area. And I'm
Yeah.
wondering, in this last year, yes, we were opening up this energy at Uluru, but since then, what are the elders telling you in terms of the energy here? Are they being able to maintain what was open in terms of these higher frequencies? Or is this issue that's hit Australia pretty hard here, of course, Canada, everywhere around the world, but you guys specifically also, has that dampened down the energy? What are the elders telling you right now over there?
Yeah, so Stephen and Evan Strong just had I think it was a few weekends ago, there was a conference. I was supposed to speak that day as well, but unfortunately was really, really sick. Yeah, so it was kind of like I guess an anniversary of that portal that was open. So
Mhm,
they talk a lot about the prophecy that the Hopi have to do
mhm,
with that there will come a time where we actually have to choose to jump in the river. Now, it's not something that we can go in, and take everyone with us. It really is a choice of having to jump in by ourselves. So it really is to become fearless, to become trusting that we are kind of creating this new reality.
mhm.
So yeah, I guess there's been Uncle Alan has talked to me about like other different portals and things that they were returning rocks to. I think we talked about it on Beyond Mystic as well with the
Right,
Star of Tulum,
right.
Tulum. I forget the spelling of it, but yeah. So there has been like a lot of activation happening with sacred sites, and you can feel it like walking around.
Mhm.
I remember when ceremony happened back in 2020 as well. There was even a cow that was crying. Someone was meditating. There's some of the amazing photos.
Mhm.
So yeah, definitely check out Forgotten Origin, Stephen and Evan Strong's website. And there's special rocks that we got to hold. So I guess working as a psychic, not everyone's allowed to hold the rocks. The rocks actually will speak and
Mhm.
let Stephen know who's allowed to hold the rocks. I also got to hold some Atlantean rings that have one of them has a black goo component to it as well. So you don't want to hold that for long because it does create blood poisoning. Some other
Right.
psychics got blood poisoning. I was lucky enough to get guidance from spirit, and I saw my actual molecular structure of my blood trying to shift to a hexagon shape, and just gave it back straight away. Interesting thing is that looks like something starting with G and the second word being oxide. So the structure that I was shown looked exactly like that. So
Wow.
this whole black goo side of things has been around for a really, really, really long time. It
Mhm.
is more of an alien consciousness that is associated with it, that has a takeover control point or hijacking point. There's only certain types of DNA that it can manipulate without, trying to choose my words carefully. Uh, uh, God, this is a hard one. Uh, Destroying the host. We'll use that one.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Okay, maybe we should move on.
Yeah.
Something
Good idea.
something else something else you just said there too, and twice now. So you talked about the water in your first introduction with the cards. You talked about the Hopi prophecy, also jumping in the river here. These two timelines. I was bringing up some of the imagery there that's on the scene. You and I, somebody mentioned this. Let me bring this back up. I think it was Laura. Yeah, Laura says we need a Kundalini show on Rumble. Okay, so guys,
Oh, yeah.
if you don't know what we're talking about there, SOLRETA and I kind of got in trouble. I think it was on the first Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. Quite a few times. But we had produced this Kundalini Awakening show, and we wanted to do
That's
this
not us,
series.
by the way. That's a photo. So we
It's
didn't
not
get
us. Oh.
to.
Yes, and so anyways, you can find some of those episodes now here on our pay-per-view. They were deleted by YouTube, and the series was also banned on YouTube. So hard to have this on YouTube. Maybe one day we'll go back to Rumble if it's the time. But for the sake of this conversation, you just talked about the waters here. Also, are you feeling in the last, let's say, 6 months or so that there's something happening either astrologically or also internally in terms of the planets kundalini rising, that we're seeing that also the waters at the second gate orgasm for the females? Are you seeing that energy um stifled again by what's happening in the last 2 years, or are we still breaking through there, and are we still seeing more and more of those floodgates opening up for humanity? Watch the language here a little bit, but try to
Yeah,
share that with the
definitely.
audience members.
Yeah, and it's such a great question. I love that. And I love that you and I can talk about and bounce these, concepts and ideas off each other. So I think for anyone that's really interested in the water, to go back to, I'm not sure if it was our last show we did on plasma, and I
Mm.
really got into the sacred and spiritual anatomy of the sacred waters within. And we went into the gematria of the sacred waters within. So for those that missed that show, we talked about the pericardium, and we
Yeah.
know that the pericardium has been a big, big topic of the recent probably year and a half coming up. So definitely check out that show, because you'll learn about the spiritual origins of the plasma water that is containing that pericardium as well. So yeah, even just this week in a session with a client, I had the spirit of water coming up. So for a lot of us that are watching and interacting and part of this cell family that we have here, not everything has been slowed down to the way that it has for, I guess, a lot of humanity. So there's different timelines, different stories concurrently running at the same time. So there is the ones where we're tapping into this beautiful, ambrosia, and having the pineal gland activated, having, first, second, third gates open. All of these things are happening, and beautiful cosmic spiritual experiences. And what I'm seeing actually come through is a lot of beings that have actually kind of come into, I guess, our domain. So I'm seeing like a lot of god and goddesses come up in readings at the moment. What I saw come up very, very strongly, I ran some crystal ball sessions towards the end of last year, and we had guidance from, not only did it come up in a reading around connecting with the angelic realms, I actually had one client that had a crystal that appeared above her crown in her aura. As soon as I tuned into it, I actually saw these angels surround her in her aura. So some of us have got crystals that are in our auras at the moment that are in our quantum field. Now, when we look at what a crystal is, it's a vibration or it's a frequency. So with some of us that are shifting, there is a crystal that is actually a communication device to the angelic realm. So when Spirit showed me this, it was really interesting, because I was telling my client, and she's like, oh my God, that's what's been coming up in meditation, is I keep seeing a crystal appear every time I meditate, and then these angels appear. So that's one sign that we're shifting, and that the angelic realm is actually able to come in and interfere a little bit more compared to what they were, say, perhaps like, 10, 20 years ago. So for
Wow.
those of us that are kind of like hitting the levels and showing up, we are having a lot more divine spiritual support. And we see it in some of the photos that I've had, with this beautiful tree background. We had the green giant show up. We've had house elves and different things like this appear at my house, and all sorts of things. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Johnny. Two of my favorites. And yeah, so what I actually had after that session, Spirit told me, Google Enochian realms, or actually it was to put it in YouTube. First video that comes up, it talks about a Renaissance mathematician called John Dee, I think it was, and how Archangel Uriel appeared to him and gave him a crystal and said, use this as a communication device to speak to the angelic realms. And they're the conduit between God and man, was what it was saying in that video. And so, yeah, we did an angelic-led meditation with crystal bowls. And we even had one beautiful lady who's in her mid-80s actually have all of her pain totally go away in the meditation. And a lot of people had just amazing, beautiful experiences, seeing different colors, being transported to different realms, being like off-world, being shown future. So we're having so much come up in the way of, when people are dedicated to that spiritual path.
Yeah.
And, I know that it's hard to make time. I'm a mum as well with lots of kids. And it's just with juggling everything, if we don't make the time, and I'm very lucky that my job makes me make the time.
Right.
Every day I have to tune in, and I'm like so grateful for that, because I'm like, where would I have the excuse to slip away and go meditate, in my bedroom, or perhaps hiding in the cupboard or something for, 10 minutes or whatever. So
It's funny you mentioned that. It's funny you mentioned that. Meg, who was on the show last night, this was our first inaugural Manifest Destiny show. She was talking about, we have to make the time right now. Universe is throwing all of these events
so
at
true.
us right now, and we're moving really, really fast through this timeline. And if you don't take the time for self-care, nobody's going to do it for you. So yeah, go check out this episode, guys, if you haven't already seen it. You just mentioned something about ambrosia. Let me bring this up here. This is Montauk Chia's website. Of course, here he's talking about female ejaculation. Go read up on this. This is the Taoist point of view. But another word that we hear also, maybe more in the Indian terms, is Amrita, again referring to the waters here coming out from the second gate. Now, what was interesting in that, you just mentioned about the water here today too, this latest Avatar movie from James Cameron,
Yes.
of course, the focus is the way of the water. And if you look at the poster here, the gentleman here, they just killed this type of whale here from this alien planet to remove this, what they call Amrita, from what appears to be the equivalent of the whale's pineal gland. And this gentleman is explaining that everything is being funded by that. The military, their space program, their explorations, blah, 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 blah. And that ounce for ounce, it's the most valuable substance in the universe. So here we have the movies trying to tell us what the Taoists have been telling us for thousands of years, what the Hindus have been telling us. What do you make of that right now? Why is that popping up in human consciousness, SOLRETA?
Well, and I think there was like a little bit of confusion around the aspect of how that was presented in the movie. So with Amrita as well, or ambrosia, you have like in Indian culture, and this is something that I didn't know when it happened to me what it was. I had to like research it and find out. So I had a spontaneous Kundalini activation one day sitting in college studying natural medicine, and I had this sweet honeysuckle flavored nectar just dripping from my pineal gland. I could literally feel like drip, drip, drip. And there was a flavor just dripping from the center of my brain. So it's interesting because that's what they depict in the movie with these beautiful sacred whales.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different to, I guess, the other word that we're not allowed to say on here that we know that is injected to keep people. So they kind of blended a little bit of the youthful side, which, with that ambrosia or that Amrita as well, it is also helpful with anti-aging and different things. It's also linked to what they call vibhuti, which is like a spiritual substance. So a lot of these are what I would sort of put down to in the old days of like Madame Blavatsky and, Alice Bailey and all of the old ancient, or not ancient, but old theosophical society. They had a lot of physical mediums, and the mediums would bring through a spiritual substance that would manifest this plasma. So when we look at
ectoplasma or something like that,
ectoplasma, that's the word.
Yeah.
So when we look at like vibhuti and different things, there's a spiritual quality or substance or mineralization that comes in. They literally like pull it from the spiritual realms. So, you'll see them pull their sleeves up and different things, and the vibhuti or the dust literally like fall out from their arms. So you can see that there's nothing from there. So this is a little bit similar with the pineal gland and with that golden nectar. So following different techniques and things like Mantak Chi or different things that JC and I've talked about in the Kundalini series that we did as well, you'll be able to sort of get a deeper understanding of these different things. But yeah.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because for some reason, even Hollywood is trying to, in their own way, bring it up into the human consciousness. We have also from the political conspiracist world talking about watch the waters, right? So there's all of these themes that are swirling around us, swirling literally. And I find it fascinating. And so it feels like maybe you and I were too early, 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago, when we were talking about this.
I know that happened before. I remember talking about probiotics and manufacturing one 10 years before they really talked about it in the market. And superfoods.
Exactly. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that here for the YouTube show. Hopefully that gives you food for thought for the audience members to check it out and see how that relates to you. There's an important lesson there, I think, for everyone, and it has to do with manifestation. And again, in one of these Taoist terms, they say you don't put dirty water into a clean glass. So if you're going to manifest here your reality, you need to start with a pure vessel. And so going and looking at some of these practices would really, really benefit you here in creating what you actually want, as opposed to creating the prison that we've been all programmed to create here in our global consciousness. Okay, we're 40 minutes in. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about too is to take a pulse with you on the ET contacts. Now, you and I have talked about this before on the show. We have quite a relationship of friends here who are in that world of contactees, for lack of better words. What are you feeling here in the last couple of months, also in terms of the uptick of communications that people are having one-on-one with ETs? What can you share with the audience there?
Yeah, so I guess I always go by personal experience. So I really love to feel into, my own information, my own downloads, things like this. So we're seeing a lot more, I guess, golden crafts in the sky. And it was interesting. I actually filmed a show with an ex-UK cop that's an experiencer just on my channel through the week. And we tried to film it the week before, but he got locked out of Facebook without doing a thing, been on the same device as everything, logged in for 4 years, not a problem. Right before we go to do the show, he gets locked out. And I'm like, I don't think this is just Mercury retrograde. Anyway, so I drive back home after just doing a card show instead. And I see this beautiful golden disc. And I'm not the only one that sees it. My partner sees it as well. And there's just this awe type frequency that you feel with these beautiful golden crafts. And that's what I say, like with ET contact, with UFOs and things, there's usually a feeling or a telepathy that they download to you with this. So what I saw was a sign that it was a block on the information that we were trying to get out. And it was a confirmation to keep persevering, to go ahead with it, to, reset up a date and everything, which was so much fun when we did. But yeah, both of us, when you get like 2 ET experiences or contactees together to do a show or whatever it is that you're doing.
You guys are dangerous.
There's interference. And I've had like street light interference and electrical issues my whole life, watches stopping and different things. Hence, one of my gorgeous friends bought me this beautiful watch a few years ago, which doesn't stop. It's kinetic energy, not battery. So,
you remember that time I had ball lightning over our house, and Sarah and I had all the issues with the cars. Well, even our newer cars have issues intermittently with the starters. And the garage was like, "What the hell are you doing with your cars, man? The electronics is already out of whack." I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. It's something about this portal we're living on."
Yeah. And that's the thing, like a lot of you would have grown up, like if you're a little bit different, like JC and I, you would have grown up having interference and things and finding that it's within the family. The same as ET contact is, sometimes within the family, sometimes skips the generation. But with the car stuff, I actually had my engine totally die dead on the freeway one day, not able to start at all. I ran light through it. All of a sudden it starts, gets me to the airport to pick up my partner at the time, gets me back home to the city. And then the tow truck comes. He's like, there's no way that you should have been able to start that if that like literally stopped dead on the freeway. And he's like, how did you do that? And he was blown away. And I'm like, willpower. And he's just looking at me like I'm this crazy person. I'm like, well, I know the truth. But yeah, with the ET contact, there is a lot more to do with, how would I say, hybrid genetics and things happening at the moment. So with going into 2023, we also have had a shift with Pluto. And when we look into, certain astrological energies and Neptune and different things, there's a big change that's happening. So we know that like generationally, there will be some planets that hang around for 20 years. And so we'll see a difference in the generation. So what we're seeing that the ETs are also wanting to bring through with certain people at the moment is new babies. And these babies, we've got the indigos, the crystals, all of the kids that have different abilities and things. The new ones that they're wanting to bring through are kind of going to be warriors that are unshakable and that will know the truth without a shadow of a doubt. So a lot of the ET contact coming through, be careful if you're not wanting to have babies at the moment, because they're definitely having a bit of a look-see into our reality, our time. The other thing,
there's definitely a lot going on, and apparently it's the place to be here in this particular quadrant of our galaxy.
So we're seeing that next evolution, but with the ET contact, at the same time, they're still trying to help us upgrade our spiritual and psychic senses. And that's why I really focus so much of my work on quantum jumping, on upgrading our reality, getting into alignment with the higher version of who we are on a soul level. So if you are really, have been trying to kind of make things work over the last couple of years, or going it alone, and you do want that extra jump, that's where I would say, book a session with myself or some of the other girls and people on the channel, because, we are able to kind of tap in and get that insight and kind of pull you that extra little step in the direction that you wish to go.
Speaking about that, do you have a coupon code for the audience members if they want to book a reading with you?
Yeah, I do. So it's Mystic. And it's funny because I had that for, I think it was, when was it? Yeah, I decided to have that like for the new year. And I actually have another like topic that I've written as well. But you and I always have so much to talk about. It's mystic versus psychic, which we're heading towards becoming mystics. And a lot of us have already been born mystic. There is a big difference between what a psychic and a mystic is. A mystic is more attuned to the spiritual realms and literally has that life force kind of run and live through them. So that's a topic for another time, because it literally is an hour.
Yeah, we're almost out of time already. It went too fast. But let's talk about this for the people who might not have had readings with you, Ascension and Organites. Carla is there now. She absolutely loved her session with you guys. If you already had a session with SOLRETA, let us know in the chat how it was, and let the other audience members know what to expect here. But generally speaking, SOLRETA, you have a very unique way of doing your readings. You have your own cards also. You use tarot cards, you use oracle cards. You also do aura drawings, depending on where the individual is that in their particular development. Do you want to give them here a little bit of a snippet of what these readings look like and how they feel?
I'm just going to jump up. There was a being that was more connected with the spirit of water and things that I drew the other day. It's just calling out to me, so I'm just going to run and grab that.
Okay, while you do that, guys, I wanted to also bring up Ascension Organites tonight. We're giving away a pyramid to one of you beautiful viewers. This is Aurora from Carla. Let's see what she has to say about Aurora.
That's beautiful, Carla.
Organized with another new design for you. Her name is Aurora. So Aurora was created together with Hermes the same day. You could say that they were born at the same time. And she embodies Atlantis energies. That's exactly what I got as soon as I got her out of the mold. So she is made of white milky quartz and seashells together with brass metals. So white milky quartz is a great master healer stone. It's great for amplifying any stone that is near it. Great for grounding body, mind, and soul, healing, any intention that you basically set her to. And seashell, because it holds the power of the ocean and the energies of the ocean. I'll give her a quick turnaround so you can see her. And there she is. I hope you guys like her. Thank you very, very much. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, Carla. I love that. And guys, if you're looking at getting one of these amazing crystal organite pyramids in your own possession, you can do so here at ascensionorganites.com. And if you use the coupon code BeyondMystic, there you'll get 10% extra discount there as well. So a big thank you to Carla supporting the show. And one of you lucky guys tonight in the PayPal tip jar will be the beneficiary of this beautiful Aurora organite pyramid. Okay. Is that what you were doing? You got an aura drawing from
So this was one of the beautiful beings that was connected that I drew for a client the other day so I've always seen auras since I was young. So very distracted, referred to perhaps like as ADHD in school, because I'm always checking out auras around teachers and, things like that. But yeah, so I've always seen different beings that are more from other multidimensional realms, as well as like seeing ghosts and different things. But yeah, this just gives examples of some of the aura drawings from this week. Funnily enough, this is one of my gorgeous clients. She's actually drawn here. So I always draw like a little template. I started drawing the template for her aura, and this ET face just kept coming out. So this beautiful moon face ET just came out. And yeah, we see that there was even this beautiful different guide down the bottom as well. So yeah, this is something that I do. I start out the session this way. I draw the different colors and talk about, because color for me is another language. So each color, depending on the placement of where it is in the aura, will represent something else. Thank you, Lisa. I love her whole family. They're gorgeous. So yeah, we really can decode the energies in the quantum field and see the information that's showing up around you energetically in the here and now. We then lay out cards. So after we've done the aura drawing, and the cards will reiterate, spirit will tell us. Then we flip the cards and we get the same message, not only in the aura drawing from spirit and from the cards, but each step builds upon, and then we're able to ask questions and really look into the highest path or the highest frequency and what's the best method to get there. So we look into love, career, relationships, work, spiritual, psychic side of things, like the questions, literally we look into anything. And I absolutely adore and love what I get to do. I'm so grateful.
You also do readings for couples. Explain that, because a lot of people are looking at couple compatibility when they look at tarot or astro. How do you work your sessions in here with couples as well?
Yeah, so I draw the couple side by side, and we look at the energies of the strengths that different people bring, and also kind of that energy that's in the middle. So I'm a very positive outlook person. So I always look into the strengths and different things. I do allow couples to ask me like on certain topics and different things as well. So yeah, it really works the same as you would in a session, but we have both the energies kind of, intermingling together, and we're able to look into past lives and different, soul experiences that they might have had together. But we're also able to look into what can we do to strengthen the relationship as well, which I love. I love to always leave someone with something to work with or something to upgrade. It's really, important to me.
I love it. All right, guys, check it out. It's SOLRETA.com and coupon code Mystic in one word. Not BeyondMystic, but Mystic in one word. And what's the coupon code value for this promotion?
Oh, it was 20% off. So this is the first time that I've done off the 1 hour as well as the 2 hour. So I really just wanted to have everyone kind of like repel and have an amazing jump start and a fun year, as I've put out for the intention to have an amazing fun 2023. I want everyone else to have that too. And that overrides a lot of programs.
That's awesome. Okay, we have maybe 5 minutes left, and there was a great question in the chat. I want to bring it up, Solreta, and get your take on this, because Julie, Janine, and I will be producing another workshop here on the Beyond Mystic Academy about blood types. And so I thought that would be very fascinating. And Susan Barnes there is asking, is there anything mystic about the Rh negative blood type? First, tell us what you know and what you think about the Rh negative, and maybe we can also pull some cards for some extra clarity on that.
Yeah, so this is where it's kind of like a bit of a broad topic where you can branch out into many things. So with Rh negative, I actually have many friends that are ET experiencers, and even some that have gone on to have babies. And when labor has started, UFOs have literally appeared above the house. And, not only had the parents had ET contact and different things beforehand, there does seem to be like different qualities that I've noticed within some of the Rh negatives. It's really important to get moods and emotions under control as well. And I guess that can impact and affect on different things. So for me, I'm a O positive. So I don't have the Rh negative, but I do have some of the supernatural abilities that some of the Rh have. So some people talk about that it could be like a recessive thing further back, that there could be abilities attached to that. But I also think that we're each special in our own different ways, even though there is different chemistry and biology. I think that there's the component of the physicality of that and with the blood. And there is some, positive and negative ET groups that are associated with the Rh negative. But I also think that we need to look at the soul level. And when we look at the soul infusing into the body, there's a certain alchemy that's created as well. So I love the blood work stuff. It's really, really interesting. And just like the whole genetic side, I'm a bit of a geek for. But it's like a really long subject.
Very good, very good. For some reason, I guess it's the Mercury retrograde. I just said that was going to be on the BeyondMystic.academy. No. It's an investigative show that I'll be bringing up with Julie and Janine, but on the pay-per-view on BeyondMystic.net. Speaking of the BeyondMystic.net changes also, if you haven't already heard, for 2023, we've segmented the Astro Woo episode, whereas before we used to do this 2.5 hour episode looking at each zodiac sign. We've now separated each of those zodiac signs for the forecast layer for the monthly forecast here moving forward. So it's easier for you to get in and out the information that you're looking for here on how best to navigate all of these energies. You can find that there also here on BeyondMystic.net. Yes, not the Academy. Speaking of the Academy, though, what's coming up is the Psychic Protection Workshop. Maybe we could talk about that here, SOLRETA, before we end the show, maybe in the last 5 minutes here. Maybe pull some cards on that, because right now you've discussed like the campaign of the last couple of years, how that was also meant to kind of bring our energies down. There's a lot of fear being pumped out again so that we're not in that joy frequency. So speaking about psychic protection right now is very important, specifically for the people who are starting to have their light shine even brighter. They might be a little bit more targeted than they perhaps were before, and they need new tools on how to perhaps better navigate those energies that might want to bring those that frequency down. What would you say first in terms of how you use your own methods for psychic protection? And maybe we can just pull one card, a quick card pull here before we go, on what universe would also want to add to that.
Yeah, sure. So the thing that's, because I always go by what Spirit's showing me. What they're showing me right now was an example of a client. It was interesting. We were doing a session, and this has happened twice with this client. The funny thing was, it was a couple of years in between that I hadn't read for this person. And in each session, I'm like, there's people watching. Like, I'm reading, and, you know, because you can feel guides, you can feel spirit around and talk to them. All of a sudden, I get a more human type of intelligent psychic remote viewer that are watching in. So I wanted to say that, you know, for some of you that perhaps do have different blood groups and things as well, it is really important to disengage when you feel that there is watchers, and to do the psychic protection. So I feel Spirit's trying to show me that little message as a bit of a flag for that. For me, it's always about frequency adjustment. So we can say the holy names of protection and things. We can surround ourselves in beautiful golden light or white light. I always love to put gold in there as well because it's highly protective. But frequency shifting. So visualizing your auric form as like perhaps like one color or a shape or symbol, closing your eyes and shifting that vibration up at least 2 octaves, and changing and shifting the color or the symbol that you associate it with will actually make you kind of change your IP address.
So I love that. You and I have talked about this a couple of years ago.
So it really, it untaps. So going back to 20 years ago, when I was having a negative gray experience, it was the only thing that shifted. It was 2 weeks, like relentless day and night, just bombardment of attack from them. And, you know, it just, it's a reminder on my phone. So yeah, it was the only thing that really shifted, and it's helped with so many of my clients that have had different interactions. And for me, I'm lucky that it was sort of, you know, I've only had the darker side a few times with that. And it was more when I was sort of coming out about being a starseed and talking about light language, because I would have only been around perhaps like around 20 or something at the time, when I think it was maybe 21 when I started to first do presentations and public speaking, which is half my life ago now. So yeah, I've been doing this a long time, but that is the highest form of protection that I have found, as well as listening to the Hebrew prayer Kadosh Kadosh Adonai Sebaoth, which you can find on YouTube. I'm just going to flip these cards really quick. So the biggest thing in terms of protection, and I had picked 4 before you said pick 1, but we'll go really quick. They want to disconnect and keep you in fear. That is the biggest thing that you need to shift and get out of. So anything with anxiety or anything like that, get out in nature, touch a tree, get your feet on the ground, shift your frequency. We've got Knight of Cups and Prince of Swords, which is literally tap into like the higher good, tap into the heart, tap into your spirit. And also, for me, Prince of Swords is about programming our own reality. We see the octahedron in the center, which is the sacred geometry shape that relates to the element of air. This is about increasing manifestation. So if we program the thought or aspect that we wish to manifest, it comes into our reality faster in this form. So we also see that there's a sickle here for harvesting. So it's literally like, nope, it is this way. So it's getting super, super non-hijackable. It's I don't know how to put it into English. They're just showing me.
Well, John was just saying it's like having a VPN, a personal
Yeah.
VPN. So I love that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
switch it up and change it and become untraceable energetically, because we all have an energetic signature. We see this left behind when people pass on and attach to furniture and different objects and things. My partner has an antique store, and we quite often see spirit in the store, especially at night. With
Right.
120 stalls filled with antiques, you see a lot of spirit and paranormal stuff.
It's a party at night.
It is a party.
I love it. Guys, I just found the poster. Yes, this was the Psychic Protection Workshop. It's coming up. This one is coming up on BeyondMystic.academy, so stay tuned for that. And also next week, coming up on Maison Jupiter's website, check out this new Astro Decode episode with Julie and Meg. This is going to be on the 18th, I believe it is, at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be a really cool new show. And here on Beyond Mystic YouTube channel next week, we have Penny Kelly coming up at 4 p.m. on Monday, including the Divine Feminine Oracle show on Tuesday, and soon also the week after that, the 5th edition of Nostradamus and the Vortex of Time with Jay Widener. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be another fabulous episodes. And if you haven't already seen these, the Beyond Astro, these are the new weekly Astro forecasts with Meg. These are on every Wednesday at noon, as well as the Beyond Tarot show here, the weekly forecast with Sophie, which is Monday at noon. So do go check it out. There's a lot there to check out. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe there. And of course, come over here at SOLRETA and subscribe to her channel. She's got amazing interviews, and you're doing really well with all these interviews. I gotta say, I love the way you handle your guests and you bring the information forward. Speaking of that, before we go, anything else coming up on your YouTube channel? Any new guests you want to bring up here for 2023? What can you tell the audience here to give them a little bit of a sneak peek as to what's coming up?
So one of my really good friends is a quantum physicist, and I'm trying to lock him down for an interview. A little bit camera shy, perhaps, but hoping that will be maybe next Wednesday. It might be pre-recorded, then uploaded. But yeah, there's lots of others that I've got. I've got another astrologer that I love as well, and a few other people just sort of like up my sleeve that are planned. But we're going to be talking about psychic abilities, about ETs, and about manifesting is going to be a strong point too for the year going ahead. But yeah, supernatural stuff. And I'll also be doing cards and things at various different stages. So yeah, please jump over and like and subscribe and share. I would love that. And we all love tricking the algorithms as well. So
exactly.
Stay ahead of the game.
All right, guys, go show her SOLRETA some love here at SOLRETA Ontario on YouTube. And of course, you can book a session here at solreta.com. And the coupon code in the description box below is Mystic. It'll give you 20% off of your reading here with SOLRETA. This was, of course, a simulated reality, our first episode of 2023. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Have an amazing weekend. Merci beaucoup. SOLRETA, really happy to see you again. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Au revoir.
You too. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, JC.